Good afternoon, everyone. First, let me introduce my group mates. My group mate is Jadil Ahmed, and today we'll be talking about Astino Berhad, which is one of the leading suppliers in metal roof sheets. And what they do is basically they manufacture and they sell metal roof sheets and other building related items. So let me introduce first the company. It is an investment holding company which was incorporated on the 9th August 2000, and it is the leading industrial enterprise in the field of high quality roofing and louvers. It was listed on the Kuala Lumpur Stock Exchange on the 18th of July 2003, and it is based in Sungai Bakap, Malaysia. So their vision and mission basically is to focus its drive to be the corporation of distinction for the sustained well-being of its customers, shareholders and employees. And what they really want to do is to have quality policy in order to build company's commitment to strive for continuous improvement on quality products and excellence in services. Yeah, can you move on? So these are the board of directors, the executive chairman and chief, from the executive chairman and chief to the independent non-executive director. So these are the main people who drive the company forward and to ensure that the company is stable and runs smoothly. So basically these are the divisions that they look into. They mostly focus on metal and other divisions, since they are one of the leading manufacturers in steel roofings. And these are and plus they do even PVC division and Astino Agro House Multi-System. Basically this is one eco-friendly type of service that they're trying to involve in. So basically here we are going in detail on exactly what they're trying to sell to their customers and to the public. These are most of their products and the most important ones that they basically focus on. This is the PVC division. As you can see, it's not only roofing items, but it's any building or household items that they mostly focus, but mainly into business industries. So Astino Agro House Multi-System, also called as AHMS, it is an advanced economical and environmental friendly solution to the construction of various types of poultry. Basically what they do is they focus on poultry farms and they supply to poultry farms in order for other business to expand, and they are the main suppliers in Malaysia for, as you can see, for basically poultry companies. And here we see is the revenue that they generated and the profit before tax. As you can see, as you can compare, from 2009, their revenue in millions was 360 million. But as they progress, they have had a downfall, but they actually, within the span of 4 years, they have increased their revenue from 360 million to 511.8 million. And on the other side, you can see their profit before tax, which is quite good. From 2009, it was 13 million, and as it progressed in 2011, they have reached their highest profit before tax, which was 42 million, and then again in 2013, it had reduced quite a bit, just to 39 million. And now we'll be talking about financial ratios in order to show the company's financial stability and their ability to meet their costs and to give profits to their shareholders. So first we talk about the profitability ratio, which is measurement of how much each dollar of a company's revenue is available to meet the company's overheads and other expenses. So, as you can see from 2011 to 2013, we will be comparing from now just 3 years. So therefore we took 2011 and 2013. And as you can see, 2011 shows a 17.8 for every 1 ringgit of sales. They were able to generate 17.8 cents of gross profit. And as you progress in year 2012 and 2013, their profitability ratio, their gross profit margin ratio has decreased quite a bit to 16.2 cents per every 1 ringgit of sales. And the gross profit margin has decreased over the past 2 years compared to 2011 because the cost of sales has increased in the past years as every company would experience an increase in their production cost, and that is mostly common in every manufacturing business. And we move on to the net profit margin. As you can see, the net profit margin from 2011 was 0.97 and it drastically decreased to 0.017 in year 2013. So the net profit of the company has increased in year 2000, has decreased in year 2013 compared to 2012, indicating that now a higher proportion of revenue is left as profits to the shareholders after deducting all income tax and interest expenses and dividends. Then we move on to the operating profit margin, which is the earnings before tax and before income and taxes, or EBIT. So as you can see, 2011 shows a 0.10% that the company generates through operating profits, and in 2013, as you can see, it has reduced by 2% as shown there with the calculations. And basically, if you analyze this, the company's operating profit was highest in 2011 and decreased to 7% in 2012. However, it increased again in 2013. As shown, because from 2012 it has increased by another extra 1%, as it shows from 7% to 8%, and possibly indicating an effective cost control policy by the company, which is good. So they are trying to cut down the cost in order to generate high profits for the company. And the next, we move on to the return on assets. It basically measures the efficiency of the business in using its assets to generate net income. So as you can see from 2011 and compared to 2013, 2011 showed 20.005 cents of returns for its shareholders, whereas in 2012 and 2013 it generated 3.197 cents of returns for its shareholders, and its highest was basically in 2011 and it decreased sharply in 2012 according to the annual reports. As you can see from the reports that we've given you, the selling price of the steel products was volatile for the most part of the financial year. And in 2013, there was a slight rise in the return of assets, which indicates somewhat benefit to the company. Then move on to the return on equity, which measures the ability of the firm to generate profits from its shareholders, investments in the company. So basically, they are trying to take advantage from whatever the shareholders have invested and trying to generate profits from the money that they initially invested. So as you can see, from 2011 to 2013 again, 2011 was the lowest, and it drastically improved in 2012, like almost doubling to 10.18 cents compared to 5.79 cents, and in 2013 again it increased to 50.94 returns to its shareholders. Okay, so now we move on to the liquidity ratios, which shows the ability. Basically, now we'll talk about the current ratio, which measures the ability of a business to pay short-term obligations which is trying to pay for their current liabilities like creditors or things like that. So basically, there's short-term obligations in ability for them to pay for their creditors. So in 2011, the company has according to the calculation, the company has 2.034 most liquid assets to meet its requirements of its current liabilities. So basically, they have double the money to pay for their creditors. And moving to 2012 and 2013, the company has 1.868 times of its most liquid assets, which can be converted into cash and pay off its current liabilities. So basically, from 2011, they had small issues due to higher borrowing from its creditors. Yeah. So now we move on to the quick ratio, and as you can see, there is a slight decreasing pattern in the quick ratio of the company, but it's insignificant due to the every minor decrease. So as you can see, 2011, there is just a slight change. It's not a drastic change, but it's somewhat acceptable. So in 2011, the company has 0.913 times of its most liquid assets to meet its requirement of its current liabilities, and it's somewhat the same for 2013. So they should improve on this, and in order for them to run the company and to pay off all its current liabilities. So now we come up to the cash ratio, which measures the ability of a business to repay its current liabilities. That means how much of cash they have to run the business and how much of cash they have to pay their current liabilities. And as you can see, in 2011 and 2013, between the years, there hasn't been much of a difference, but still it shows a positive figure, and they are somewhat able to meet their current liabilities by having enough of cash in their business to pay for their current liabilities. So now we talk about the efficiency ratios, which is the debtors turnover ratio. Basically indicates the number of times the debtors have turned over within a period of 1 year. So as you can see, from 2011 and 2013, it says that the company collects its payments 6 times in a year from its credit customers. But in 2013, it also shows somewhat similar and doesn't make much of a difference. But in 2012, it was able to meet only 5 times. So which means they have improved and come back to the same point of 2011, but slightly improving on it, which is good. And now we come up to the total asset turnover ratio, which is in 2011 and 2013, there has been a drop, a slight drop, which shows that the total assets turnover decreased slightly over the 3 years. Such a minor decrease is insignificant and it won't affect the company, but they shouldn't take this lightly. They have to somewhat improve on this. And now the debt to asset ratio, which basically measures the company's ability to generate sales from its customers. To generate sales from its assets by comparing net sales with average total sales. So as you can see, the ratio increased in the year 2012, and it led to a decrease again. It led to an increase in 2012 and dropped again in 2013. So the company has had 58% of its total assets being financed by debts, and in 2013 the company has 69%. So there's a somewhat increase in the ability of the company to pay its to generate sales from its assets. And now we come to the debt to equity ratio, which basically compares the company's total debt to total equity. So in the year 2012, as you can see, the debt financing increased because of the euro crisis, and the steel industry crisis. So basically, since this company is focused on building materials on steel, since they focus on steel so much, they had experienced small complication. But however, after expansion, the company's debt to equity ratio reduced, indicating that it is better able to finance through equity. And now we talk about the earnings per share ratio, which is one of the ratios which is important for shareholders, and this is one ratio that every shareholder will look into, because they will need to know how much the company can earn per share that they've invested in the company. So the earnings per share has constantly increased over the 3 years. As you can see, 2011 to 2013, from for every $1 of common stock equity, the company is able to earn 0.029 for the shareholders. And as compared to 2013, for every $1 of common stock of equity, the company is able to earn 0.065, which shows a gradual improvement into the earnings per share for the shareholders. So now the time interest earned ratio, also known as gearing ratio. So this is normally calculated by using the profit before income and tax divided by the interest earnings. So as you can see, the ratio is much higher in 2011, and it drastically reduced from in 2012 and 2013. So in all 3 years indicated that the company can efficiently pay off its interest expenses. So as you can see, the company has 14.162 times ability to pay off its interest, and in 2013 the company has 7.004 times, which is not as good as compared to 2011, which means that they are going through some minor issues which they have to take into consideration. Now we come up to the financial analysis, and I shall hand over the presentation to my colleague Janjit, and he shall take it over from here now. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. As my colleague mentioned you all the introduction about the company and all the financial ratios, now I'm going to present you about the profitability ratios. The increased net profit margin, operating profit of the margin indicates that the company is left with higher income after all deductions are made. And these ratios indicates reasonably financially strong position of the company. And the return on equity ratio shows that the beneficial to company, as it indicates potential investors that management is effective at using equity financing to fund operations and growth of the company. After this, we are going to talk about the liquidity ratios. The quick and current ratios have increased in the year 2013 from 2012. It indicates that the company is better able to meet the requirements of the current liabilities using its most liquid assets than it was before. And the efficiency of ratios is that the company is efficient in paying off its interest expenses, and the earning per share of the company has also constantly increased, and the company with a higher earning per share ratio is capable of generating significant dividends for investors. And the decrease in debts to equity ratio from year 2012 to 13 indicates that the company is using lesser debts financing than before, and can be a positive highlight to the potential investors. Now we talk about the dividends. The company has declared a first and final single-tier dividend of 5.68 cents per ordinary share in respect of the financial year ended in 31st July 2013, and the dividends recommendation is giving a reasonable return to our shareholders, which is a good thing, while also building up reserves for expansion plans for the company. Whereby now we talk about the conclusion, how we conclude that the financial market crisis and the euro debt crisis, as well as the company slowdown in China, has adversely affected the performance of the global steel product industry, and which has resulted to reduce profit margins of the company and less financially stable position. However, the setup of our new plant in Temerloh, Pahang started its operation fourth quarter of 2012, and with the setup of this new plant, the company was able to broaden the market and financially stabilize itself again, which is reflected in the valuation of financial ratios of 2013. Whether to invest 1 million ringgit or not in this company? Well, as we have mentioned so many things about the company, based on the financial analysis of Esino Berhad, based on evaluation using the annual reports from where we took all the information, of 3 years from 2011 to 13, me and my group mate, we firmly recommend that we should invest 1 million ringgit in this company, as it is financially stable and it is growing at a fast pace. And the company has further expansion plans to cater to international market as well. And the overall performance of the company has improved because of the increase in demand of the steel products and the building materials over the past few years. Because of the and also one of the main reasons is that the domestic market is growing and the projects are further developing in Malaysia. Therefore, this will increase the company's profits and revenues in the coming years, and therefore investing in Esino Berhad is a viable decision. This is the URL for the annual report of 2011, 12 and 13. And yeah, thank you very much for I hope you like the presentation.